For nearly half a century, humanity has had two silent explorers moving steadily outward, long after anyone expected them to fall quiet. They were built for a brief encounter with the outer planets, yet they continue to operate in a region no human-designed object was ever intended to survive for so long. Far beyond Jupiter, Saturn, and the last faint warmth of the Sun's influence, they are still sending data back from a place that feels less like a destination and more like a threshold between known physics and something not yet fully mapped. Recent discussions around Voyager 1 and public scientific commentary have reignited attention on what these probes are actually encountering. Not because of a single dramatic revelation, but because of the accumulation of subtle, persistent anomalies in the data. And that raises a deeper question that has followed these missions since their launch. What does the boundary of our solar system actually look like when you stop imagining it as a line and start treating it as a living region of interaction? The story begins with one of the most transformative ideas in space exploration. In the 1960s and 70s, trajectory specialists including Michael Minovich helped develop the mathematical foundation for gravity-assist maneuvers. The idea was deceptively simple. A spacecraft could gain speed by passing close to a planet, stealing a tiny fraction of its orbital momentum. When combined with a rare planetary alignment, this made it possible for a single mission to visit multiple outer worlds in sequence. NASA recognized the opportunity created by a once-in-176-year alignment of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were launched in 1977 with a mission that was originally modest in duration. They were not designed to explore interstellar space. They were not designed to last decades. They were designed to take a brief tour of the outer planets and then fall silent. Instead, they became something entirely different. Voyager 1 revealed Jupiter as a violent system of storms larger than Earth and volcanic moons reshaping themselves under tidal stress. Voyager 2 extended that story further, becoming the only spacecraft to ever visit Uranus and Neptune, revealing tilted magnetic fields, strange atmospheric dynamics, and ring systems far more complex than expected. These discoveries alone would have secured their place in history. But their journey did not end there. After completing their planetary encounters, both spacecraft continued outward toward the edge of the heliosphere, the vast region dominated by the solar wind. This region was long imagined as a kind of protective bubble surrounding the solar system, separating solar influence from interstellar space. The outer boundary of this region, known as the heliopause, was expected to behave like a clear transition line. Inside, solar particles dominate. Outside, interstellar particles take over. A clean separation between two environments. But reality proved more complicated. When Voyager 1 crossed this boundary in 2012, and Voyager 2 followed in 2018, the data did not show a simple transition. Particle densities shifted as expected, but magnetic field directions behaved in ways that did not fully match predictions. Instead of a sharp divide, the spacecraft recorded a gradual blending of solar and interstellar influences. The boundary appeared less like a wall and more like a turbulent interaction zone where two cosmic environments overlap. That discovery forced a rethinking of what a boundary in space actually means. Instead of a static shell, the heliosphere now appears to behave more like a dynamic structure, constantly reshaped by solar activity on one side and galactic magnetic forces on the other. Some models suggest ripples, folds, and elongated structures forming within this region. Others describe it as a constantly shifting interface, more fluid than fixed. Then came another layer of intrigue. As Voyager data accumulated, researchers studying particle behavior in the outer heliosphere noticed unexpected fluctuations. Cosmic ray intensity increased significantly beyond the heliopause, in ways that aligned with predictions, but other signals did not. Plasma oscillations were detected that resembled faint wave-like activity in what was assumed to be extremely sparse interstellar gas. In some interpretations of the data, these oscillations were described as a kind of low-frequency interaction within the medium itself. Not sound in any human sense, but structured plasma behavior that appears organized rather than random. In a region once assumed to be nearly empty, the data suggested persistent dynamical activity. This is where scientific curiosity and interpretation begin to diverge. Some researchers see these effects as natural consequences of plasma physics in low-density environments. Others emphasize that the structure of these signals may point toward previously under-modeled behavior in the local interstellar medium. Either, Voyager 1 has also experienced periods of unusual telemetry behavior, where data packets appeared corrupted or internally inconsistent while the spacecraft itself continued functioning normally. Engineers traced some of these issues to aging onboard systems and memory components operating far beyond their original design lifespan. In one case, an inactive system was found to be contributing to confused data output. Even so, the incident highlighted how fragile and complex deep space communication becomes over decades. Consider what that actually means. A signal traveling at the speed of light takes more than 22 hours to reach Earth from Voyager 1. Any command sent today arrives tomorrow. Any correction exists in delay before it is even received. Communication with the farthest human object has become stretched across time itself, turning control into something closer to conversation with the past. Despite this, both Voyagers continue operating. Their power comes from decaying radioactive sources that slowly diminish each year. Engineers have been forced to shut down heaters, instruments, and non-essential systems just to preserve minimal functionality. Yet even under these constraints, the spacecraft still transmit data. Not strong signals, but faint, consistent whispers from the edge of the solar system. And that persistence has made them something more than machines. They have become reference points for understanding the boundary of our cosmic neighborhood. And what they suggest is that this boundary is not a simple edge. It is a gradient. A transition region where solar and interstellar influences interweave rather than separate cleanly. Instead of an endpoint, the solar system appears to dissolve gradually into the galaxy. This realization has important implications. It means our maps of the solar system are not wrong, but incomplete in structure. What was once drawn as a boundary may actually be a process. A region shaped by continuous interaction rather than separation. At the same time, newer missions such as upcoming heliophysics observatories are preparing to refine this picture further. Future instruments are expected to map the heliosphere in far greater detail, potentially revealing its full three-dimensional shape and how it responds to changes in solar activity and galactic conditions. These efforts may finally determine whether Voyager's observations represent local variation or a fundamental property of the system itself. Yet even without final answers, the Voyagers have already changed how humanity views its place in space. They revealed active volcanism on distant moons. They helped uncover possible subsurface oceans beneath icy worlds like Europa and Enceladus. They returned the iconic pale blue dot image, showing Earth as a tiny point suspended in sunlight. And now, in their final phase of operation, they are mapping the structure of interstellar space itself. There is a quiet irony in this. Machines built with technology far simpler than today's devices are still contributing to cutting-edge astrophysics. Systems with limited memory and minimal processing power continue to operate at distances where nothing else from Earth has ever reached. Their longevity was never part of the original plan, yet it has become one of their greatest contributions. And perhaps that is why they continue to capture attention. Not because they are perfect instruments, but because they endure. Each new data stream adds another fragment to our understanding of a region once thought to be featureless. Each anomaly becomes a prompt for reconsidering assumptions about space, plasma, and the nature of the heliosphere itself. The deeper implication is subtle but profound. The edge of the solar system is not a final boundary. It is an evolving interface. A region where forces from the Sun and the galaxy interact continuously. And beyond it lies not emptiness, but a structured environment shaped by physics we are still learning to interpret. In that sense, Voyager has not reached the end of anything. It has entered the beginning of a different kind of space. One that is still being defined by data, by models, and by the slow accumulation of understanding. And as long as its faint signal continues to arrive, delayed but persistent, it carries a simple message from the farthest human-made objects ever built. The story of space is not finished at the edge of the solar system.